Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
First, a word from this month's sponsor, Ethico.
If you're a compliance officer, middle managers are crucial in getting your programs from you to your frontline employees. But how do we activate those managers and get them on our side? Ethico's new Middle Manager Toolkit equips you with the skills needed to empower your managers, to promote a culture where ethical behavior thrives and employees feel empowered to speak up. Learn how to turn frontline managers into ethical leaders with our new white paper, Empowering Middle Managers as Ethics Champions. And did I mention you can get the whole toolkit for free? Head to ethico.com to download the full toolkit today.
If you're wondering about what you can do if you find yourself in an FCPA compliance action, check out the FCPA Survival Guide. It's my latest book. It's sponsored by Ethico, and in it, I take up and write the top 10 things you can do to reduce your overall fine and penalty if you find yourself in an FCPA enforcement action. So check out the FCPA Survival Guide. The Daily Compliance News for January 15, 2025, the Corruption is Back edition. Well, except corruption never left. Nevertheless, we've got 4 great stories on corruption today. The first one, it comes to us from CNN, and it discusses the memoir of Pope Francis about how he was informed about corruption cases. They were handed, the paperwork on them was handed to him in a white box. So sometimes you keep documents and sometimes you give them to the Pope. Next up, remember Bob Menendez, former senator from New Jersey, who was convicted on corruption charges, who said that his wife did it, threw his wife under the bus, who's undergoing cancer treatment. Well, she's going to trial next month as the court denied her request to postpone the corruption case for a second time. So she will go to trial in February, and I wonder if her husband, who threw her under the bus in his trial, is going to be sitting there supporting her or not. We'll see. Next up, a UK minister, the British minister responsible for financial services and fighting corruption, resigned weeks after her questions about her financial ties to the ousted former Prime Minister of Bangladesh arose. Tulip Sakid has repeatedly denied any wrongdoing, and the Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, said he stood by her, but she is the second government minister to resign in 2 months, so things aren't going too good for the new Labour government. And to have a minister resign, the minister in charge of corruption, resign over corruption, obviously is never, ever a good look. And our final story comes to us from the Des Moines Register, which reports that U.S. Representative Zach Nunn has introduced anti-corruption legislation in the U.S. House. The bill is entitled No Corruption in Government Act. Well, that's pretty straightforward. He said it would prohibit lawmakers or their families from holding or trading stocks and end automatic pay raises for lawmakers and ban Congress from becoming lobbyists. You think corruption occurs in any of those? Maybe he's on to something. It's going to be interesting to see if the House will self-police itself by banning these trades. Everyone knows, and it's well reported, of the millions of dollars that congressmen have made from inside information leading to trading. At the start of this podcast, the sponsor for the entire Compliance Podcast Network is Ethico. Well, Ethico has a great new offering this month for you, a toolkit for middle managers. This is something that you, as the compliance professional, can use to move your compliance program forward by giving middle managers the skills necessary to answer a call for speak up or when someone comes in their office and raises a concern. I can't think of a tool that will be more valuable for you in the current era of enforcement. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.